What is going on, everybody? Paul here, coming at you with a crypto coffee update. I got all kinds of news for you today, got some conferences and events happening as well, but before we get into any of that, join me for a simultaneous sip. Absolutely what I look forward to in the morning is getting some of that caffeine, energizing myself up. Let's go ahead and jump into the news. So, at&t employees involved in what's called a SIM swap fraud, according to one investor who has a lawsuit going on against the gigantic company. So, let's go ahead and unpack exactly what's going on between this crypto investor and at&t. Couple of short points. Crypto investor Michael Turpin has accused the phone carrier at&t of failing to protect his data and allowing hackers to steal $24 million worth of cryptocurrency. And he has a lawsuit going on against the company for $200 million more than what was actually stolen. He alleges that hackers were able to use his phone number to steal his crypto. So interesting. Let's go ahead and see what he asserts and what's going on there. Apparently, Mr. Turpin believes that at&t employees were able to collude with an individual claiming to be Mr. Turpin, who was actually the hacker, divulge some important information, and it was as simple as that. Mr. Turpin's capital and crypto were gone, flushed from his account. So that's highly unfortunate, but it also raises a few questions. Apparently, in the past 7 months, Turpin claims that his accounts were compromised twice through what he calls digital identity theft, and when his account was first hacked, the crypto investor said it was due to, again, insiders cooperating with the hacker. So one has to wonder to what extent this is indeed some kind of grand collusory scheme on the part of at&t employees against Mr. Turpin, or to what extent this may just be a failure to do your own research and secure your assets accordingly. After all, $24 million is a large amount of capital for any individual, and having something like a hardware wallet, a Trezor, or a Nano Ledger to be able to keep those digital assets secure is a low cost in terms of how much capital that is. So reasonably, it's something that could help prevent issues like this. Nonetheless, feel really bad for Mr. Turpin, and we'll see what happens as this lawsuit progresses. Moving on to Southeast Asia, over in Thailand, there's been a Bitcoin fraud case that's roped in a lot of different individuals. Not only the individual that was scammed and the person who did it, but the bank staff, a prominent stock investor, and perhaps even the bank itself. So let's see what's going on there. An individual who is a Finnish national lost 5,564 Bitcoin, so no small amount, to these scammers. As to why this investigation has been expanded in scope to include bank employees and perhaps the bank as well, apparently Thai law requires anti-money laundering officials to send a notification of sorts if over $60,000 or 2 million Thai baht is being moved around. And apparently this bank failed to report for transactions up to $600,000, over 10 times the amount that's required to report to authorities. So there's a bit of strange, shady things going on. Because of this oversight, you can see here, bank employees broke Thai law, and the bank is looking to settle with this 22-year-old Finnish national as to avoid any more complications from this legal proceedings and potential prosecution on the part of this Finnish national. The guy who actually did this defrauding, he's apparently still on the run. There's a lot of he said, she said behind the issue, so it's really unclear as to who's at fault. However, normally the guy that flees his country to a country with an extradition treaty to Thailand, no less, not a wise move, he looks more suspect, in my opinion, than somebody who remains around to try and cooperate with authorities. Speaking of cooperating with authorities, the Thai SEC has cleared 7 cryptocurrency operators to serve clients and is reviewing 2 more. So this goes to show that for better or worse, issues such as what we've just talked about are prompting Thai regulators to take the cryptocurrency space more seriously, enforce some kind of regulation, and at least try and clean it up to the best of their ability. Of course, nothing's going to replace the good old-fashioned doing your own research, taking some extra time and some extra steps to just make sure that what you're doing is the right step and legitimate and that you're securing your own assets. Of course, here at Cryptide, we try and help out with that as much as we possibly can, just by providing information to help you make informed decisions for yourself. And speaking of informed decisions, that's exactly what these 7 cryptocurrency exchanges did. You can see a list here on your screen and a list of the 2 more that are working through approval. They were able to jump through the hoops that are called the transitional rules governing crypto until they can get the first tranche of regulations, which came into force May 14th of this year. So they're building up a regulatory framework around the entire situation in Thailand. The Thai SEC revealed that this has solicited a heavy interest from a lot of ICOs looking to kick off in the country, since there's going to be some legal framework. So really this demonstrates as well the intercompetition between various state actors in the race to legitimize cryptocurrency to give a boon to that local economy. Of course, that economic boom, as we just saw, comes with a lot of risk, and the SEC over in the United States has slapped a $30,000 fine on an ICO fraud. This is kind of a new spin on a classic scam. It has to do with oil and gas, something that's been going on all the way back since the early 1900s, when oil became less of an agricultural nuisance and was renamed black gold for its, of course, useful properties. Moving up to today, the Security Exchange Commission has permanently barred founder David Thompson Lawrence and his company Tomahawk Exploration. They can no longer deal with things like penny stocks or really any financial market due to the fact that this individual, who went to great lengths to hide his previous criminal record, was attempting to defraud investors by saying that he had claims over oil and gas in the state of California and he would be tokenizing exploration of said land. This is something we've seen in the past with Titanium coin and other such coins, where individuals will assert that they control assets in the real world and are tokenizing them, but it's something very important to consider that anyone can make claims about ownership of property in the real world. There's one thing to have a digitally immutable ledger with coins on it. There's another thing to have that tied to a physical asset that can be moved around and is much more easily defrauded. So another great example of why doing your own research and due diligence is important out there. According to the SEC, the company tried to gain money through selling these things called Tomahawk coins. They also mentioned that, hey, oil prices are looking good, they're going to go up, and that was actually a contradiction according to the company's own internal analysis. So even internally, they're not really having a lot of consistency. And as said, this led to not only a disbarment from any participation in larger financial markets, but also a penalty of $30,000. So potentially a slap on the wrist compared to what this guy could have gotten away with, but nonetheless, having him officially and legally barred from financial activity is a beneficial move to help to clean up the space, in my opinion. And in terms of cleaning up the space, that's going to make this scene much more attractive for institutional investors. And like we were talking about with interstate competition, that's going to help to drive this regulatory framework forward, as states, they don't want to take quite a hands-off approach as they see their neighbors profiting heavily from this new digital movement. And US investors are now able to get Bitcoin into their retirement and brokerage accounts, but not through the ETF that was lauded as the thing and onboarding vehicle that was going to help to facilitate this. They're actually using what's called an ETN, and that is a Swedish-based asset from a company, XBP, and it's a subsidiary of UK-based Global Advisors. And it essentially functions very similarly to the ETF, but because it's offshore and able to be settled in US dollars, it's a legitimate, fully legal workaround for getting Bitcoin into people's retirement funds, into their brokerage accounts, and that sort of thing. So yeah, it's a pretty interesting demonstration of just what level of ingenuity, even within the existing legislative framework, that individuals are able to express. And so basically what you can do is you can buy something called F shares, which means you can go through these trades and execute them, settle them in US dollars, and you're buying something related to the price of Bitcoin, just like an ETF. Really, the only thing that changes is a few extra steps, and of course the naming for legal purposes. So that's an extremely exciting development, and again, this highlights not only interstate competition, but also the veracity of institutional investors to get a hand on these cryptocurrency derivatives, simply because it's such a new and exciting emerging technology. With that said, there's always exciting things going on with said emerging technology, so let's go ahead and roll into conferences and events for Friday, August 17th. First thing we have is a Lisk meetup that's happening here stateside in Houston, Texas, and we have the second International Blockchain Conference kicking off in Chicago. For Saturday, August 18th, we have the Ontology Seoul launch kicking off in Seoul, South Korea. We'll have another one coming up on August 25th over in Tokyo, so it looks like they're going from city to city. That's all for Saturday, and didn't have anything going on for Sunday, so nice relaxing day for everyone to get their affairs in order and kick back for a short while before rolling into Monday, where we have another exciting week of crypto. Sources and links below, all in the description. After all, sharing is caring, and it's up to you guys to check behind me, because if you don't cite your sources, well, really you're just talking, making stuff up perhaps. Who knows? Well, not here. Here we have the sources. Check them out. We also have the B-list tokens. All of those are fine projects. There's just so much to talk about that really, with respect to time, it wouldn't be a workable video. No one wants to sit around and watch a 4-hour video about just conferences and things happening, so I try to keep it entertaining and compact for you guys. So let me know what you thought of this below in the comments. All feedback is appreciated. And thank you for watching. Your support really does mean the world. A like on YouTube and Viewly goes a very long way, costs you nothing, and helps to support the channel. But for now, my name is Paul, signing off. We are Cryptide. The times are changing, and remember, the tide is rising. Let's catch some fish.